It's conversation you can share. Arrow.net, ARROE.net. We are unplugged and totally uncut with Rabin Havt. Dude, I have been waiting to talk with you because you have given us something I don't think has been available to us. You have given us the inside sleeve of an album cover, and the album is called Bernie Sanders.
I think that's a really good way to describe it, actually.
To be in that moment.
That to have a book that, he's a guy who, you've heard the album, right? And
Yep.
the album has a lot of hits on it. Medicare for all, college for all, moving the Democratic Party on so many issues. But what you don't have is the inside sleeve, right? You don't have who this person is, what's he like, what's the color around him. And look, Bernie is somebody who, he doesn't think that stuff's important, right? He thinks it's gossip. He thinks the issues come first. And they do. He's not wrong. But, it's, the issues might come first, but people do want the color. And I know maybe I'm aging myself here, and perhaps you did too. But, when I got my first cassette tapes, actually, that's where I go back to. Part of the joy of the cassette tape was opening up the sleeve in there and reading about the band.
But you do it in a way that also teaches, because, I've always wanted to know, how is it that Bernie finds love in those that might be his enemies? He just keeps walking forward.
Yeah, he's unstoppable in a way.
Yeah.
He has no quit. He has no loss to his fire. He has no, and it's not that he finds love. It's that he believes that every person has some sort of value in their political opinions. Every person has something to contribute. It's why when people ask, why do young people love Bernie so much? It's because so many politicians either treat them like, either ignore them, or, do the thing where it's like, hello, fellow young person, like the where, I forget what movie that joke's in, but it's like the old person dressed up as a young kid in like a hat backwards going, hello, fellow young person. He doesn't do that. What he does and I've seen this over and over again, when he talks to young people, when he talks to kids in high school, when he talks to kids in college, he's not lecturing them. He comes to them and says, tell me what's important to you.
Yep.
Tell me why these things are important. And when these people are in those conversations, they can see he's listening. And by the way, when people, that's just political. The thing I always remember was we were driving through Iowa once, and we stopped at a community college to use the bathroom. By the way, neat road tip trick. Colleges typically have open doors where you can go in and use the bathroom if you're traveling. So if you see and the bathrooms are pretty clean typically. A neat little trick there for the fans. So we kind of stopped to use a bathroom at this community college in Iowa, and at the community college that day, there was a marching band competition for high school marching bands, right? And so suddenly a group of kids sees Bernie Sanders, and he just pulls the band aside and just starts talking about, hey, tell me what you're interested in. Tell me where you're going to college. Are you worried about paying for college? Tell me what you think about, and just starts engaging them. And, we were traveling for campaign purposes, so we had, our camera crew with us. I had a camera, and he waved us off. He was like, guys, no, let me just talk to them. This isn't, it's not like he's winning votes from 16-year-olds out there, right? And all that exists is, I'm sure some 16-year-olds in Iowa have a really interesting story about the time that they talked to Bernie Sanders outside a bathroom at a junior college, right? And they had a group photo after, right? So to show their friends, hey, this wasn't it actually was Bernie hanging out with us. But there was nothing to be gained. There were no votes. He legitimately wanted to just hear what they had to say. So many times we were in Nashville once at a barbecue place, just having dinner. And this was in 2018 before the campaign. And there was a table of young people who recognized him. And he just went over and he sat with them and talked to them about, hey, tell me what's going on in your lives. Like, tell me what matters to you. And I think that's why, but that applies to all people. There's once, and I tell this story in the book, we were in West Virginia, not like Democrat-friendly country out there, right? And we pull over at a truck stop, once again to use the bathroom, right? But this is the thing, Bernie there's something about him everywhere. We come out, and this pickup truck, you could tell the driver saw Bernie, right? And he, like, big guy driving this big pickup truck, literally, like, swings the truck around and is speeding towards us. And I'm like, oh, shit, it's over. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm like, oh, no, it's over. We're in trouble now. And the guy just was like, oh, my God, Bernie Sanders, I love you.
Yeah.
Of course, there was the other incident in West Virginia, which is in the book, which I do think, which was the time we were at the Chuck Yeager Airport in West Virginia, and there's one pizza place at the airport, and we were having a slice of the pizza, and the guy comes, we hear screaming in the kitchen, and we kind of hear it's directed at Bernie and not very friendly.
Uh-oh.
And, we were thinking, oh, it must be a Trump supporter in West Virginia. And the guy comes charging out of the kitchen, his coworkers, like, towing him, like, trying to, like, hold him back. Me and another guy who were with Bernie who, we're more lovers than fighters. But at this point, I just think there's going to be physical confrontation. We stand up. And then we hear the guy's actually a Hillary supporter, very, very angry at Bernie for the results of the 2016 election, screaming about Hillary. And he kind of gets pushed back into the bathroom by his coworkers. And me and the other guy, like, stood up, like, ready to fight because this guy's charging, right? It looks like there's going to be, like, a confrontation. Bernie, like, remained, like, seated at the table, totally calm, eating his pizza. He just looks up and goes, well, guys, I guess Hillary had one supporter in West Virginia.
He's always been a man of great vision, and the stories that you're sharing in the book and stuff like that, he's also a great listener. Can we call him a modern day prophet? Because aren't we all leaders if we choose to lead?
I mean, like, there is the scene in the book which has gotten some media, which has Obama telling him he's a prophet, but prophets don't get to be king.
Right.
So I don't know how to take that, considering the Barack Obama advice to Bernie. But I do think, I think he would reject that and say he listens, he wants to respond, and he wants people to he is just trying to carry out a vision and an agenda that to him is obvious. So many times there'd be an issue where somebody comes up to him and, like, oh, my God, I thank you for taking this position. And I'm not talking the major stuff like Medicare for all, et cetera.
Right,
I'm talking some other position that he just took. And he would turn to me after he was, I don't understand. I was just doing the rational thing there.
Right. I can hear him.
Like, why do they think that was like, he's like, I didn't think what I did was so great there, guys. It was, I mean, I took the right position, but it wasn't it was just rational, right? Why am I getting praised for, like, doing the obvious, guys? That's what government should do. Wow. And I think he has a fundamental belief in what Bernie Sanders fundamentally believes in more than almost anything else is community. Mm-hmm. And community of, your community of your family, your community of your actual community you live in, your community of country, and kind of the community of man. And things that join us together in community are things he's going to support.
Yeah. It's not my imagination when I say this. There's a lot of the Biden administration that I see Bernie in. In other words, there are things that are taking place. I'm going, oh, that's Bernie Sanders all the way. They're utilizing his strength.
I think that there has been a real change in the Democratic Party since I've been working in politics starting in 2001. There's been a huge shift in the Democratic Party, and Bernie would say the work isn't over yet.
Yep.
And a lot of people would point to agenda items that need to be done. And certainly, Joe Biden is a centrist president. He's not Bernie, but a lot of the stuff they have done, from the first reconciliation bill, which was one of the largest pieces of domestic legislation in history, to a lot of what the NLRB has been managed under Biden, becoming a much more friendly place to organize labor in this country, et cetera, have been hallmarks of Bernie's vision. And I think that Joe Biden is certainly no Bernie Sanders in terms of ideology, but I do think Bernie Sanders has but the thing you've seen is Bernie has shifted the Overton window, meaning the window of acceptable political policy and political positions in this country, and widened it out on the left.
Wow. It's almost like he faces walls. And I mean, this goes all the way back to when he first got into politics. He's never been afraid of how tall a wall is. Like you said, he listens, but at the same time, though, he keeps pushing forward.
Yeah, look, it's not even about walls. He sees it as doing the rational right thing. And if he's doing the rational and the right thing, he's going to push forward. And by the way, that doesn't mean he's not going to compromise. He's had lots of moments of compromise in his career, from frankly, when he endorsed Joe Biden and said the most important thing is electing Donald Trump is preventing the reelection of Donald Trump, to working with John McCain on one of the largest veterans bills in our country's history. He really thought that was, that's a major accomplishment that took compromise and working together, and he gave on some things and McCain gave on others. And he does believe in compromise, but at the same time, this is a guy who is elected mayor by 10 votes. Yeah. And by the way, the headline in the New York Times was one of the most incredible headlines I think ever written, which is Burlington, Vermont elects new mayor with bias towards poor. Well, I guess you could say he's biased towards the poor. So he takes over as mayor, and the city council kind of is shocked by this, because Bernie had been like a gadfly who had gotten 5% of the vote, 1% of the vote, and suddenly he's elected mayor of Burlington, the state's largest city, which is still a small town in other places in America. I mean, population for less than 40,000, and they make it as difficult as possible for him to govern. They take away any budget control. They don't even let him have a secretary as mayor. They basically, his first 2 years, his first term, they just try to kind of torture him out of the position. And what does he do? You're right. He goes to the people. He does his own governments. He holds his own meetings. He doesn't let them stop him. And he governs the city so successfully that he permanently remakes the city from, by the way, a place that wasn't very nice to one of the, frankly, nicest cities in America, if you've ever been to Burlington. The waterfront, which was one of the major issues in his first campaign, how do you develop the Burlington waterfront, is now one of the nicest public areas in America.
Wow.
And that was because of Bernie Sanders.
Wow. So during the past 2 months, I've been waiting for Bernie to make a comment about this Russian-Ukraine situation. Are the headlines just staying away from Bernie? Because I mean, or is he just studying the game right now?
I know he's made comments. I know he's made speeches on the floor of the Senate. So maybe it's just the headlines have stayed away from him because he's not, because he's, on foreign policy issues, he's not a chair of a relevant committee, et cetera. So I don't know. But I know he has commented. And I think, look, on foreign policy, you have to look to one kind of overriding kind of code in Bernie Sanders' mind. And that is Bernie Sanders, like I said, he believes in community.
Yep.
Bernie Sanders believes in small d democracy.
Yep.
He believes people have a right to elect their leaders.
Yep.
And he believes that military budgets should be smaller. And he believes that we should work towards peace. Those are kind of the overriding three things that in some capacity he goes with on everything. And look, it's like during the Cold War, Bernie, I talk about this in the book as well. there's that weird attack people make on him. He honeymooned in Russia. Right? What's the truth of that story? Well, the truth of that story is Bernie, as mayor, set up a sister city program with a city called Yaroslavl in Russia. Why did he set up a sister city program? Because the State Department, which at the time was in the administration of Ronald Reagan, was suggesting cities do that to create human interaction between us and the Russian people as a way of bringing peace. And that's the type of thing that Bernie loved. He loved that sister city program where Russian kids would come to Burlington and get to hang out in America, and residents of Burlington would visit that city, and they would learn about each other. And I believe the sister city program actually continues to this day.
Wow.
It hasn't stopped, and I think it's because he believes that like high-level diplomacy is necessary, but also people talking to people is necessary.
On your Google Calendar, somewhere in the next year and a half, is there a big meeting set for your apartment where you guys are going to get together and you're going to say, well, do you want to run again?
No. Well, here's the thing. Bernie is an unstoppable force of nature.
He is.
I am not an unstoppable force of nature. And frankly, the conversation about a year ago now, a year ago, I went into his office and said, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm tired. Yeah. I need to and he very much understood. He was sad, and but I said, I don't have your energy, and I'm half his age, and I can't. You need people around you who can keep up with you. But after, pretty much, 2017, 2018, where it was almost always just me and him, and maybe one or two other people, to a huge, enormous list that is a presidential campaign. I needed a rest. I frankly, he might have another campaign in him. I don't have another one in me. I mean, I will support him. I will donate to his campaign. I will be the biggest cheerleader in the world. Now, mind you, he has said, and there was a memo very clear about this, that he will not run against Joe Biden.
Yep.
If Joe Biden runs again, he's not running. But the office, he did send out a memo saying he has not ruled out not running if Joe Biden doesn't run. Right. And look, there's nothing that I see as he can't do it. Now, I kind of believe Joe Biden will run again. Yep. I think there's very little chance he doesn't, so I don't think this is an actual question. But could he? From seeing him, yeah. And frankly, look, I couldn't do it. I'm still tired from that year.
Such an honest man. Where can listeners go to give you some love, find out more about you, and really get into your style of writing? And because, I mean, you are a connection.
Sure. The book is The Fighting Soul. So first off, I'd encourage everybody to pick up the book, which is available everywhere books are sold. So, if you want to buy it from a river in South America, that is fine. If you don't, that is fine as well. I would, this past weekend was, by the way, small bookstore day, I believe. Yep. Saturday was Tech Small, and I would very much encourage people to use local small bookshops because they are kind of a vital community. Bernie would say they're a vital community resource, yes, and we should keep them going, and the book should be available at most of them, or any other website where books are sold. Please feel free to buy the book. I tend to write in a variety of locations. I've written all over the place, and I anticipate I'll be doing that more in the future. You can always find me on social media at Ari Rabin Havt, Twitter, Instagram, etc.
Ari, you've got to come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you. You are a brilliant story sharer.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. It was great to be here.
You be brilliant today, okay?
Thank you.